30 online poker.
Yeah.
Thing.
Raises to 18.
Right, I'd probably have queens.
Me too.
Fold
Three
queens.
folds. Four raises to 85. 6 folds. 7
Okay.
folds. 8 folds.
That easy? Or no? Oh, never mind.
Mariano 3-bets here with the Cowboys. JWIN on the button. Another knit game has started.
Oh.
Makes the call with 9-10 of spades.
In this episode of Weekly Poker Hand, we're taking a look at a wild spot that JWIN played against Mariano at 50, 100, 200, 400, 800 at the Lodge. In this hand, JWIN gets 10-9 of spades on the button, playing effectively about 45 big blinds deep, $35,000. He has the 10-9 of spades and opts to raise it up to 1,800. Folds around to Mariano. In the big blind with pocket kings, he makes it 8,500, about 10.5 effective big blinds. You always have to presume whatever the biggest straddle is the new big blind. And back around to JWIN with 10-9 of spades. He just has to call and see the flop. I know it's a little bit dicey in this situation because you did raise into many, many players in the blinds and straddles. Then he got 3-bet. But this is a spot where Mariano should be 3-betting a lot of his playable range, given there are a lot of players still yet to act. So 10-9 of spades needs to call and see the flop.
18,500 and Mariano flops top set. JWIN looking for a queen.
That's 5,400.
The flop comes king of clubs, jack of hearts, 2 of hearts. Mariano has top set and a backdoor king high flush draw. JWIN has the dummy end of the gut shot. Mariano goes for the $5,400 bet, a very small bet in relation to the pot. And this may be surprising to some people because they see this very coordinated board that has a lot of draws that JWIN could potentially have, and they think, I need to bet big to price my opponent out. But this is actually a spot where Mariano should be heavily favored, not just with his top set, but with his range in general. And with hands like pocket kings or pocket jacks, betting small makes a whole lot of sense because your opponent's drawing thin or dead. And that's also going to be the case with hands like pocket aces and ace king and king queen if he has it. On top of that, if Mariano did have a hand like ace jack or even pocket tens, if he bets tiny, he can still get called by worse hands, whereas if he bets big, a lot of the worse hands are just going to easily fold. So this is a spot where Mariano is going to want to bet relatively frequently using mostly a small size. Now, what does JWIN do with a gut shot?
JWIN comes along.
JWIN opts to call with a gut shot, and this may look a little bit loose to some players given he is so shallow stacked. However, calling is mandatory. He's getting pretty good odds. He's in position. He will have some bluffing opportunities on the turn and or river, depending on how the board runs out. So folding in this situation would be way too tight. I know a lot of players look at the spot and think, I'm probably behind. If the queen of hearts comes, I could still be beat. But when you're so shallow stacked, if you make a straight, it's pretty much the effect of nuts. And in this situation, you're actually getting pretty good immediate odds, plus implied odds, plus bluffing opportunities to the point that you have to stick around. JWIN realizes that. Let's head to the turn.
Close to 30,000 in the pot. Hand number 104. Mariano What What a check there by Mariano. Goes check,
The
check.
turn is the 4 of clubs, putting up 2 flush draws, and Mariano opts to check. This is a spot where both betting and checking are very reasonable. Assuming you do want to have a checking range, as Mariano would with a lot of his medium strength hands, it is perfectly reasonable to check with some hands that are super duper strong, that are not going to fold on any river, like pocket kings. So Mariano does go for the check, and JWIN has to decide if he should bet in this situation. And given the stacks are starting to get relatively shallow, most of the time when JWIN bets, he should be using a relatively small bet size because his value hands, such as King Queen, King 10, King Jack, King 9, pocket 5s, pocket 4s if he stuck around with it, pocket aces if he slow played, all these hands have Mariano's checking range, which will be a lot of his medium strength hands, in pretty bad shape. So this is a spot where it's not all in or fold for JWIN, which is what a lot of people think you should do when you have less than a pot size bet. So, assuming your value hands mostly want to bet small, you are going to also use small bet size with your draws. Now the question becomes, should you bet this 10-9 of spades? And the answer is, most of the time, yes. Same thing for 10-9 of clubs. However, not 10-9 of clubs, 10-9 of spades and 10-9 of diamonds. So if you do not have the backdoor or front door flush draw, you want to be more inclined to bet compared to when you have the flush draw, because when you do bet small, like let's say 25% pot, you are going to get shoved all in some portion of the time, primarily with hands like aces, pocket kings, ace king, some draws, etc. So when you bet the turn in this situation in JWIN's shoes, you want to have either a very clear call or very clear fold. And with a hand like 10-9 of hearts or clubs, it's roughly break even, which is not really where you want to be. And in this scenario, if you did bet small, you'd probably need to fold to the all-in. And you really, really, really don't want to go around folding a gut shot and a flush draw to an all-in. So, for that reason, if you do want to bluff, you either want to have really, really high equity draws that can call it off, or trashy draws that can fold, like the 10-9 of spades. That said, 10-9 of spades checks it back this time, which is certainly reasonable. I don't think you have to bet it every single time. Let's go to the river.
JWIN looking for a queen. There's the queen! Oh my goodness!
The river is the queen of spades. A disaster for Mariano because now he loses to JWIN's exact hand, the 10-9, plus ace-10, which JWIN could certainly have. So what I want to know is what would you do in this situation in Mariano's shoes, given JWIN has about 3/4 pot remaining? Would you check, looking to check and then shove all in? Would you check looking to check call any bet, assuming you bet non all in? Or would you bet small, like 8,000, or would you put JWIN all in? Take a second, think about it, and let me know what you would do in the comment section down below. In GTO world, the only bad option for Mariano is to check and then just call if JWIN does not bet all in. Pocket Kings is really, 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 really good here and wants to get money in the pot. Assuming you do want to have a small betting range on the river, you should always slot some nuts into that. But this is a spot where I'm probably either going to go all in or check. And on this particular board, I'm going to be very inclined just to go all in because I don't think you can count on most players to take whatever marginal made hands they have and bluff them some portion of the time, such as pocket 8s or pocket 7s or pocket 6s. If JWIN is in the spot with those hands, those need to bluff all in. If he had a hand like Jack 9 suited, that may also want to bluff all in. And if he did have some sort of busted draws like Ace 8 of hearts, Ace 4 of hearts, etc., those also want to bluff all in a large amount of the time, at least in GTO world. So I don't know how JWIN is playing in this scenario, but a lot of players, especially when they're playing a much bigger game than they're used to, most people aren't used to playing 50, 100, 200, 400, 800, they're not going to be inclined to pull the trigger with the bluffs. So if they're not going to bluff often enough when you check, that should make you way more inclined to value shove yourself. That said, let's see what Mariano does.
Four bets 3,800.
3,800 into 29,000.
Come on. Call.
All in, and a quick call.
That's brutal.
And a call, yeah. Yes.
$75,000 pot.
Mariano did go for the small bet. JWIN made the easy all in. Mariano made the easy call. And he was shown the disastrous news. If you enjoyed today's video, click the like and subscribe button before you leave. Thanks for being here. Good luck in your games. And when you make top set, I hope you don't find a way to lose the pot.